Hello, divine creations, divine marvels, children of God. Thanks so much for dropping by. Um, I want to share a little bit on um, why I and actually many other Hindu gurus, teachers, philosophers consider Advaita Vedanta, which translates as non-duality in English. We consider it to be an incomplete path. So, first and foremost, Hinduism, also known as Sanatana Dharma, is vast. Within Hinduism, there are 6 primary schools, of which Vedanta is one such school. Now, Advaita Vedanta is a sub-school, meaning it's just one of the denominations that fall underneath uh, the school of Vedanta. To make an analogy, in the West, we have Christianity. The primary denominations are Catholicism, Eastern Orthodoxy, Protestantism, and the fourth one is hard to name, Revitalism. Now, underneath Protestantism, for example, one denomination might be Presbyterian or Methodist or Baptist. It's a sub-school underneath, it's a denomination underneath a major school, in that case, Protestantism. Well, I didn't know this because when I was taught my first introduction to Hinduism, I was taught that Advaita Vedanta is Hinduism, when actually it's just a denomination underneath one of the major schools. Now, so this analogy can be helpful. Like Advaita Vedanta is just like Protestantism. It's just a denomination underneath a very large school. Now, this analogy is really helpful, but it also falls short because Advaita Vedanta has had huge impact on Hinduism as a whole. So while it's just a sub-school, it's had much more impact on Hinduism as a whole than, say, Presbyterianism has had on Christianity as a whole. But so first and foremost, but the reason why I'm sharing this analogy is to get clear that throughout history, the vast majority of Hindus, individual Hindus, and even gurus, saints, and whatnot, have not been members of Advaita Vedanta. Because here in the West, we've just been in essence lied to that Advaita Vedanta is Hinduism, when actually it isn't. It's just as I said, it's just a sub-school that has had a huge impact on Hinduism. But even today, well, I'm not going to say that. I was tempted to say, even today, well, the thing is, though, if you went to the average Hindu and said, the bottom line of Advaita Vedanta is that you are God and this world does not exist to such an extent that it never even happened. If you walked up to the average Hindu and said, you are God, you are the ultimate, you are the creator of the universe, and in fact, all of this is a dream to such an extent that this conversation that we're having right now isn't even happening. It never happened. Like this like you out there watching this YouTube video, not only are you God, not only are you the supreme creator of the universe, but this YouTube video you're watching never happened. In fact, you never happened. The you that's watching this video doesn't even exist and never happened. So that may be a bit of a shocker to anyone watching this, but that's really the bottom line of Advaita Vedanta, or that's part of the bottom line. But to the average Hindu, they would look at you like you were fucking nuts. And my view is that anyone who really believes that is fucking nuts. I love this guy, Ramana Maharshi, but I've come to the place where I disagree with him fundamentally on some issues. So, um, so there you have it. Advaita Vedanta. While it's been just marketed to us as Hinduism, it's actually not. And the thing is, you remember I started the video saying there's 6 main schools of philosophy, and that Vedanta is one of those schools. So the essence of Vedanta is that, and all the different schools of Vedanta would agree that there's a very close relationship between creator and creation. The different schools just disagree about how close. And they also disagree about, well, what is the best method to experience this closeness, to experience an end of suffering. So, I totally lost my point. That's what happens when you do live broadcasts. Thank you. So the thing is Advaita Vedanta is just one interpretation of Vedanta. Vedanta is all based around the Bhagavad Gita, the Upanishads, and the Brahma Sutras. And then all the different schools, Advaita Vedanta being just one of those schools, has different interpretations of those primary texts. Adi Shankara, the founder of Advaita Vedanta, he read the Bhagavad Gita, the Upanishads, and the Brahma Sutras. He meditated deeply, and the conclusions he came to is what Advaita Vedanta is all about. And what is Advaita Vedanta all about? Really, a part of it I've kind of said already, that there is no difference between the individual soul called Atma and the universal soul, Brahman, the eternal, absolute, all-powerful force. And so that's just his interpretation. And this idea that the world is unreal, just his interpretation. He came up with that idea. I think there were 1 or 2 Hindu philosophers before him who didn't really gain much prominence, who felt that the world was unreal, an illusion, a non-existent. Non-existent is even questionable, but so he came up with that idea, and it's gained prominence in Hinduism, and but the majority of Hindus throughout all of history, and again, when I say Hindus, I'm not just talking about the common people. I'm also talking about the saints and the sages and the gurus. Majority of Hindus have not believed that. Don't believe it today, haven't believed it, and don't believe it. And so I'm not here to say that he's wrong, although I do. That's not the point of this video. I do disagree. The point of this video is to put Advaita Vedanta in context. And what makes things even worse is that we in the West have been given a watered down version of Advaita Vedanta, but more on that later. So if you really want to understand non-duality, if you really want to understand Vedanta, if you really want to, what needs to happen is we need to recognize that this is just one school. This is just one interpretation based on one person. So if you're a follower of Advaita Vedanta, in essence, you're a follower of this one person. Ramana Maharshi did espouse Advaita Vedanta mostly. There's some very interesting differences, which I'll be exploring, one of them being surrender. He was pretty pure Advaita Vedanta. He pretty much stuck with, but there were some things he said that disagree with Shankara. And so here's where it gets really interesting. When Ramana Maharshi disagrees with Shankara, when Shankara disagrees with the rest of Hinduism? What do we do with that? That's where, any teacher or teaching, I'll say teaching, can only be a pointer. And I love Ramana. I consider him one of my gurus. I don't consider him my Sat Guru or my main guru, but I feel his presence and his guidance, and I've been deeply influenced by him. But at a certain point, we have to, after having studied these things, and not just studied but practiced, we need to ask ourselves what feels right and what feels true. And Ramana Maharshi went so far as to say that yes, the creator of the universe exists, but once you attain enlightenment, you'll realize that the creator of the universe is an illusion. Ishvara, the personal creator of the universe. So in essence, what he's saying, Hinduism, we have this idea of Yahweh, Jehovah, God the Father, as the creator of the universe. And Ramana Maharshi said, yes, not Yahweh, but the Hindu idea, Ishvara, yes, he does exist, but that's only before realization. Once you realize, Ramana said, then you'll come to the then you'll see that not only is this universe an illusion, but so is the creator of this universe. And that just doesn't feel right to me. Neither does the declaration that Guru, God, and the self are one and the same. I'm sorry, Ramana Maharshi is not God. For me, I don't think he's God. I don't think he's the creator of this dream. From the Advaita perspective, all this is a dream. You can't even say the creator of the universe, because the universe is just a dream or a set of ideas, nothing more than false ideas. But whether you accept the universe as real, or whether you accept it as see it as a illusion, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but I don't see that guy as the creator of the universe, and I don't see him as the creator of the illusion. I don't see it either way. So, but that's just my 2 cents. I'm trying to keep my 2 cents out and mostly just share a little bit about having some perspective on Advaita Vedanta. Thank you so much for joining in. And if you notice, I have his picture up. I love the dude. I think about him often. I think about his teachings often. And I feel that he's helped me immensely on the path. And I think he'll continue to help me immensely on the path. Thank you so much for joining in. Take care. Much love.